What's up, everyone? Welcome, episode 630 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here. This is not live. Usually, I do a live stream, live show after every series, but today, for me personally, or I guess yesterday, because it's 12:53 in the morning as I'm doing this, it was a long work day for me. So I'm coming to you before 1 a.m. and I just want to give some quick thoughts. Obviously, won't be going to the chat, won't have anyone joining the show. It's not going to be a very long one, um, as you might understand. But just wanted to give some thoughts still. I didn't want to not show up for you guys. So Padres, they take 2 out of 3 from the Tampa Bay Rays. After this series, they're 78 and 61. They come back home, and then later today, Joe Musgrove takes the mound against the Detroit Tigers. Good thing for the Padres is they don't have to face Tariq Skubal, who's one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. It seems like the Padres, things have gone their way in that respect, where they don't have to face School, don't have to face Paul Skeens. I don't think they faced Paul Skeens once this year, right? So little things like that. I don't think that's me saying that, oh, this team's not for real because they're not facing those guys. I mean, they've been able to win a lot of games here. I mean, you're facing good pitching. It's the big leagues. But that's just something that has gone the Padres' way, I think, a little bit this year. Um, but yeah, let's just get to these 3 games and then obviously some injury updates. Padres, guess yesterday, in the series finale, won 4-3. And this was a weird one. It was a delayed start because Fred McGriff got uh, inducted, I think, into the Rays Hall of Fame. So started a little bit, I think, after 11 a.m. And Dylan Cease made it through 5 innings. I was hoping that he was going to be able to go longer, but that sixth inning of work, I think the sixth inning of work, man, I've never seen that from Dylan Cease, where he just was not able to throw strikes. Just couldn't. It was like the strike zone. He was allergic to it. It was, I think, 10 straight balls. I know it was 8 straight balls because he walked 2 guys to start that inning. So yeah, and then it was bases loaded with nobody else when Jason Adam had to go into the game, and then Adam hits a guy, and there's a double play, I believe, that scores a run. Then there's a ball that gets past Campy, and again, Campy, he's not going to be catching every day in the postseason. I hope that the Padres give Elías Díaz now that he's on the big league roster because it's September, so the roster is expanded. I hope that now he gets that opportunity when Higgy is not catching. And Higgy, by the way, he had flu-like symptoms. I think he's getting better, but so we'll see if is Diaz going to be catching tomorrow. Is it going to be Campy? Do they want Diaz to get a week under his belt, understanding, learning Padres pitchers before getting into the game action, at least catching wise, not at the plate? We'll see what happens there. But yeah, that was weird. Now, I'm not like in panic mode over Dylan Cease because it was one of those things that I had never seen before. Watching Dylan Cease, go 8 straight balls like that. I'm sure that happens around baseball, but Dylan Cease, he got his congrats to him. He got his 200th strikeout yesterday in that series finale. So he is someone that makes his starts. Sometimes can't go deep, but there's a lot of times where you get those deep outings. Obviously, he had the no hitter earlier this year. He is one of the best talents in baseball. So it threw me off there a little bit watching that inning there before he couldn't get that one out in the 6th inning at all. But bottom line, the Padres, they did win this game. Jeremiah Estrada, sure, he got some help from the umpire, but he goes a scoreless inning. Tanner Scott, Robert Suarez. Suarez gets his 30th save of the year. And this was another Jackson Merrill show. The Padres, by the way, they won this game going 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, leaving 12 guys on base. So that's not great, but I mean, the Rays, they were 1 for 10. They left 7, so it's not like they were fantastic either. But Merrill, both sides of the ball. He in the 3rd inning makes a great diving catch. There was nobody on, but if that ball gets past him, maybe that's a triple. And who knows what happens after that because that's baseball sometimes. And he went out, and it was almost not totally full extension, but almost full extension. And I love, obviously, and you guys probably don't want to hear, oh, Ben talking about his high school days. But when I played in high school, I freaking loved playing center field and going out there and diving for a ball in a gap, um, even if it was during batting practice, and just sliding and diving for balls. Uh, that was fun. And Jackson, he's having fun out there in center field. And then in the top of the fourth, he hits the homer to make it 2-0 there. And obviously the Padres, they needed all of these runs because they win by one. And they got that one, the game winning run. Profar had the sac fly. Bogarts, he had a sac fly there in the ninth inning, top of the ninth. And again, just like not trying to do too much, just do your job. Did Belichick come up with that? Do your job, or maybe someone did before him, but I think he was big on that. Saban probably was big on that as well. Like, do your job, focus on that. And this Padres team, they've done a really good job at doing their job, not trying to do something that isn't their job in that situation. And so they get rewarded for it yet again here in this series finale to take this series. And it was a little bit disappointing this road trip because sure it was a winning road trip, 4-3, and you're going to take that. But when you win the first two games in St. Louis, and I know the weather, like I can't sit here and say that, oh, the weather wasn't a factor. Of course it was. It was just disappointing you win the first two and then you can't find a way to win one of the next two because what would that be? A 5-2 road trip is a lot different than a 4-3 road trip, right? Um, but right now, Padres, they are 5 games back in the division after this series. They are 3 games. They have a 3-game lead. They're tied with the D-backs. So, and the D-backs, by the way, they still play the Dodgers, I think, later today on Monday in that series finale, that wraparound. So maybe the Padres will be in front of the D-backs by the end of today in that wild card race. That's where my mindset is, or that's where I'm looking at. I'm not even focused on the division. I need that thing to be down. I was talking to someone earlier today. Um, need that, I guess it was yesterday. Need that division lead to be down to 2 or 3 games for me to start thinking about the division again. Because remember, they got the Dodgers and the D backs that last week of the season, but you're not coming back and winning the division when you're 5 games back with those 2 series left. Like that's just not going to happen. So um, again, Padres, all they can do though is their job. Go win that game. Go do your best that day. And for the most part, the Padres are doing that. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're 42-38 this year against teams that are better than 500. So that sounds like a pretty good ball club to me. So overall, I'll take it with this road trip. I'll take it with this series. Obviously, taking 2 out of 3. It sucked that they lost 11-4 yesterday, especially when Crony has that homer in the top of the first. But I will take every road series win I can get that we can get. We're taking that, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't think I learned really much anything on this road trip about like this current team and who they are. We know who they are. They're going to fight. They have the talent. They can go on a run. Are they going to be healthy? And that's where I have some updates here in a little bit. But just real quick, the first 2 games of the series, Padres lose 11-4, like I mentioned. In game 2, Crony had that 2-run homer, but then that was like really it. I know they had a couple more runs there in that 7th inning, but Randy Vasquez, he just got shellacked. He got crushed. 4 1/3. He gave up 11 hits. He had 4 walks. Don't even show me the earned runs, and I know that that is not going to end up good. Struck out only 3 guys, a homer. Um, I think we got a note though, like Randy Vasquez is not a starter in this rotation. He is only starting because Darvish is not there. Because Waldron was struggling. If Waldron wasn't struggling, then they'd have Waldron be starting those games, not Randy Vasquez. So for me, if the Padres are in a postseason spot and the players that I know that we're going to be counting on to contribute in the postseason, if they're doing well and I'm seeing encouraging signs or they're playing baseball like they're trending upward as we get into the postseason, then I'm going to be happy. That's what I care about. I don't need to win the division. I don't need Sure, we want Randy Vasquez to pitch well. Like, I hope you understand my point here, but I'm not going to spend too much time concerned about Randy Vasquez because the Padres have bigger things to worry about than their 7 starter. Yeah, sucked it up, but that's going to happen. They still won the series. Shout out to Alek Jacob though, 3 2/3. Just giving the bullpen a day off. That was big. I thought he was going to get sent down because of how many pitches he threw, 48 pitches. Maybe they wanted a fresh arm, but then it was September, yesterday for the series finale, and it's like, no, rosters do expand, so it's not that big of a deal. But no, props to Alec Jacob. Um, it's something that isn't going to get talked about a lot. They lost. It is being talked about by Padres fans, but it's not something that's going to be like something we remember in the season, unless like you're a really diehard fan, I guess. It's a loss to the Rays, but it's a long season. And again, like I said moments ago, this team has bigger things down the line here, and you want that bullpen to be as healthy as it can be and to be as rested as it can be. And it's been a tough stretch. The Padres, they finished their 18 games and 18-day stretch today with the off day tomorrow. So during this stretch, even if it is at the end, Schilt and Niebla probably don't want to use their relievers if they don't have to when they're getting smacked. They're not going to go, extend guys like that when you're not going to go win that game for the most part. I know they had that big comeback earlier in the year, but that's not what's going to happen every time out. And if the Padres would have like really came back, then maybe the the pitching plan, maybe Schilt goes with someone in that pen because they're getting closer. But Alec Jacob, just one of those team players, one of those moments where you just gotta bite the bullet. Game 1, Padres won 13-5. That one was much more fun. Manny, Merrill, Bogey, great days from them. Manny, 4 runs driven in. He hit his, 161, I think, in his Padres career, tying Adrian Gonzalez on the Padres all-time home run list. So congratulations to him. Bogarts went 1 for 3, 2 runs driven in. Manny scored 2 runs, drove in four, excuse me. Crony drove in a run, scored 2 runs. Solano drove in 3 runs. Profar scored a couple of runs. Like, that's a lot of production from your top 5 hitters in that lineup in game 1 of that series. Merill, 2 for 5 day from him, 2 for 5 night from him. He had that RBI single. Man, he barrels up so many baseballs this year. So many. It feels like, yeah, he strikes out sometimes, but he's going to put together a good at bat pretty much every time. And he's one of the more reliable players in the league. I'm looking at his baseball savant right now, and there's like 2 things of blue: chase rate and walk rate. Walk rate in the 7th percentile and chase rate in the 10th percentile. Um, Everything else, it's not bright red, but it's not blue. Sweet spot percentage, or what is that? Launch angle sweet spot percentage, 97th percentile. Slugging percentage adjusted, 95th percentile. Batting average adjusted, 97th percentile. Uh, X WOBA, 93rd percentile. You look at his hit spray chart, it is all over the field. He's not a only pull hitter. That's not who he is. So, yeah, I mean, like I hit on earlier about the diving catch that he made and then him homering to dead center. And then the night that he had in game 1 just continues to show the value that he has to this team. What else of note that happened in this game here? Let's see. David Peralta homered. Just continuing one of the other great stories from this Padres season is David Peralta. Obviously he started out as a pitcher in his professional career, then independent ball, then goes with the D-backs as a hitter. and then, has good years, but then the Rays, the Dodgers, minor league deal with the Cubs, then minor league deal with the Padres. So like he was trying to just grasp on, hang on to a big league career. And he comes in while Fernando is out and is one of the probably better Padres players just offensively in that span. I know you can point to guys like Profar and Manny and Merill, Bogart since he come back from the IL, right? But David Peralta, he deserves some shine. I think he's got to be up there. I can pull up his splits here real quick. His last 30 games, he's hitting 316, 375 on base, 537 slug. I mean, I'm taking that every day of the week from David Peralta. You tell me when the Padres signed David Peralta to a minor league deal, Tatis is going to be hurt, which that's not great, but it's believable. But David Peralta is going to come in here, and he is going to not be a huge drop off from Fernando. Production, batting average wise, he's not. I'm not saying he's on Fernando's level. I'm not saying I'd rather have Peralta or, oh, it's close. I'm just saying in this span of time, I think he has filled in really, really well for Fernando, which is obviously a big void. But yeah, a great win in game one. Really got to Taj Bradley. They were hammering that splitter. It was on the Apple TV broadcast. They showed, I think, the first inning. Maybe it wasn't the beginning of the game. Splitter, 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 hit, 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 hit. Bogarts had a homer late in that game. A lot of contributions from a lot of guys. Sean Reynolds, I know he got sent down, but he has been another good story for this Padres team this year. He had an inning and 2/3, no runs, struck out, I think, his first 5 guys that he faced. He had 5 total strikeouts, 0.82 ERA this year at the big league level for the Padres. So wouldn't be surprised to see him at some point. The bullpen is in a good spot, and I think I can transition now into Wandy, Cosgrove, those guys being activated before that Sunday game. And now the Padres bullpen, it was already in a good spot, but being able to add an additional arm, their bullpen is Suarez, Scott, Adam, Morejon, Hoeing, Estrada, Matsui, Jacob. Jacob came up as well, yeah. Peralta and Cosgrove. Like, how many guys there could pitch if you needed them to in a high leverage situation? I don't know what our confidence level is in Cosgrove right now, but he's done it before. Peralta's done it before. Jacob has nasty stuff. Matsui's done it before. Estrada's done it before. Hoeing's had mostly good. He's had a couple clunkers, but mostly been really good. Morejon, he's having his best year with the Padres, right? Adam, Scott, Suarez, obviously those are your high leverage guys. There isn't like people in that pen where I'm like, oh man, maybe some fans would point to Wandy, but I'm giving him some grace right now. Like, I want to see him pitch, and if he struggles, then we can change. I can change my opinion on that. But Wandy, yeah, it wasn't great before he went on the IL, but he still has track record. And the good thing with him is he doesn't have a ton of pressure on him. When is he going to be pitching in this bullpen? With how many arms and the high leverage guys that are ahead of him, I don't think we're going to be sitting here like, oh, Wandy Peralta's pitching in the 8th inning of a 2-1 game. Padres trying to hold the lead. Wandy's not. That's not who he is. With where he's at, coming off the IL, and the situation, the other guys in this bullpen, the depth that H.A. Preller has built. So the bullpen, obviously, a big area of strength. Good to see Cosgrove and Jacob and Wandy back. Elías Díaz, he was activated, and he doesn't have postseason experience. He was talking about that to the media about pretty much just being excited to be with the Padres, to have this opportunity. Obviously, it's different from being with the Rockies. You get to go to the Padres. I mean, come on, heck yeah, right? I assume his point of view. And he's going to get an opportunity. I just wonder how many games. What's that opportunity going to look like? Is it going to be at bats? Is it going to be actually behind the plate? Is it going to be Campy not getting those opportunities here in September, or very many of them, and they're going to go with Elías Díaz? And maybe this is another opportunity for Elías Díaz, or his first with the Padres, to show what he can give defensively that Campy may not be able to give, which, at least stats wise, yeah, he can't give right now. And, we know Higgy, he's the starting catcher. He's deserved it. But injuries can happen. And so I want to see what Elías Díaz can give in a Padres uniform. Because obviously, yeah, the offensive numbers weren't great with the Rockies, but it's like the Padres, they added Nick Ahmed. We learned of that before that series finale on Sunday. Him and Elías Díaz and David Peralta was the same thing. Like Solano as well. I mean, I could go down the list this year of Preller giving these, minor league deals or prorated veteran minimum deals where you're paying them like nothing. They've done it before at the big league level. I don't want to say it's a win-win, but you can't really lose, right? Because if Solano didn't perform well or Peralta didn't perform well, would they be in as good of a spot? No, but it's not like you spent $20 million on them. It's not like you handed them the starting job every day and that was your number one option. Peralta came in for an injury. Solano came in as a bat, and if he didn't work out, you still had Manny at third. You still have Crony. You have Bogarts. I know Kim's hurt, but you had Kim. You had other guys. And obviously Solano was on the team before Tatis went out. You had options. So with Nick Ahmed, with Elías Díaz, I don't know if we're going to see Ahmed. I feel like Ahmed is just insurance for if Ha-Seong Kim, for some reason, can't make it back, right? Because would they put Ahmed on the roster ahead of Tyler Wade? Feels like Schilt really loves Tyler Wade, the role that he brings to the Padres off the bench, right? Starter, not so much, but off the bench, speed, could play a lot of different defensive positions, left-handed bat. Not saying that's his strong suit, but he is a lefty. So yeah, I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place there with those moves, but these new guys coming in, I mean, why not? That's where I stand on that. The latest on Darvish, Kim, and Tatis. So because I was having a long day technically yesterday, I didn't read the latest in the UT, or I don't know if Dennis Lin put out something. So this could be maybe not the latest, but it's the latest through my eyes right now. From what I've seen, what I've read, and Darvish, he recently threw a little over 60 pitches in Arizona. Kim and Tatis, they were playing in Arizona games at the Peoria Sports Complex. There was video that was out the other day of Tatis taking a live at bat, running down the line. He wasn't sprinting down the line there, but I assume that this is his ramp up. I believe the latest update that I've seen is that he's just getting a bunch of reps. And in terms of the timing, when could they come back? For Kim, it feels like the progression there. I don't know if he has started, well, I assume he has because he's in Arizona, but fielding the ball, because the other day Schilt said he hadn't started doing it yet, fielding the ball and throwing over to first base. It was just like separate. They were separating those at that time. But hopefully that has happened and he is progressing. Tatis, he could be back. I think the Padres, they're hoping for him to be back at some point in this homestand. So maybe against the Giants. I think the Giants are after the Tigers. Sometime during that series, maybe. And then Darvish, the question there is, okay, what's the next step? Is it go, 5 innings or 4+ innings on a pitch count at the big league level, like Joe when he came back? or go for a rehab assignment, 5 innings, and then you come back and you're good to go. Um, I wouldn't mind him being on a pitch count at the big league level and have him pitch over Andy Vasquez. You could go Brian Hoeing after. I'd like Darvish to get some starts under his belt here in September going into the postseason. So not we, because we don't make the decisions, but the Padres can see what can he give, how many innings. Does the velocity go down when he gets into the sixth inning? What's that mark? What are his breaking pitches looking like? Does he have the command? What's his health? You know, and for Darvish as well, because I'm sure he'd like to get some innings in before the postseason. But yeah, I guess the update that I have, the latest, and again, this is the latest for me. This could be not the actual latest, so I recommend you go on the UT or the Athletic or wherever you might find updates there. I have not seen more of an update than what I talked about there. It's unknown when those three guys will return, Kim, Darvish, and Tatis, but I'm hoping that Tatis returns at some point in this homestand or at least in the next week and a half. And Darvish, next couple of outings, have one rehab or return and then return, or just be on a pitch count and return. I'm fine with that. And with Kim, to be honest, I'm not in a rush to get Ha-Seong Kim back. Not saying that like I don't want him back, but I'd like for him to be healthy. I, there's no need for me at least. I don't think that he needs to get a ton of at bats going into the postseason. I think if he gives you something offensively, that's a plus. I think in the postseason, you're going to be relying upon guys that have come up clutch time and time again. You're going to be relying upon Manny Machado. You're going to be relying upon Jackson Merrill and Jurickson Profar and Xander Bogaerts and Fernando, Crony. You're going to be relying on those guys. Maybe Solano, Arise, obviously to get on base, set the table, take good at bats. You're relying on those guys. You're not relying on Ha-Seong Kim, right? So that's what I've got today. Maybe I was just seeing if I missed some. I don't think I missed anything that I wanted to at least hit on here today, this morning here, 1:21 a.m. But first, before I get out of here, some of the great partners of the show, Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries, their main location on Friars Road. If you're going to Petco Park later today or during this homestand, they're there as well. Down the third baseline, great cheesesteaks, cheesesteak fries, garlic fries, cheese fries. Go check them out. And Breaking Tea, I'm actually wearing my Jackson Merrill Breaking Tea shirt right now. They've got a lot of Merrill stuff, Profar, Manny, Tatis, a lot of guys, a lot of Padres and Aztecs shirts and sweatshirts. Click that link in the description. Breaking Tea. Um, they just had a 15% off Labor Day sale, I believe. So maybe that's still going on. Use that to your advantage. Um, they just released Profar Merill 2024. They released that shirt, which is pretty cool because usually they release it like Tatis Manny or Tatis Machado 2023 or 22 or whatever, um, like a presidential type shirt, right? But this year, I mean, it is Profar Merrill, so I like that. There's the Merrill Madness shirt that part of the proceeds are going to be going to the Merrill family and what they do, helping families pay for the travel ball for their kids. So great stuff going on there. The Aztecs, by the way, they got a nice win. The second half was electric. The Sean Lewis Aztec Fast offense, Marquez Cooper, I think that's his name. Um, my goodness, that guy had himself a game. Danny O'Neill, true freshman quarterback, had some good moments there. First half, yeah, they were down 6-3, and they were playing a team that I didn't even know was an actual university before learning of the week one matchup. Texas A&M Commerce. I can't name a single player on their team. But what I care about is they got the win. It's like the Padres. They got the win. Um, you know, if they're going to, and obviously the college football playoff, I probably shouldn't even mention that. First year with Sean Lewis, but it is an expanded playoff, and winning your conference, right? Be the top, you're the top group of 5 team, win that conference, start building up for that. And there's a resume boosting opportunity with Oregon State. I'm not saying they're, a huge school, in the Pac-2, but they've got that next week. So I think that they need to use this as a building block, lessons learned from this game, from that win. And it's always better, obviously, to learn those lessons and wins because you can't take away that win from us, right? You can always learn, but when it's in a loss, it's like, well, we didn't accomplish our goal on the scoreboard and we made a bunch of mistakes. Where here, of course, there were probably some mistakes made, but again, like you still got to be 1-0, right? Be 1-0. That's what matters. Underdog Fantasy, click the link in the description there if you would like. They've got a bunch of pick'ems. You'll claim a special pick and get a deposit match up to $1,000, 50% deposit match. When you use code Talking Friars, same code for SeatGeek, by the way, $20 off your first order. Yeah, first order there with that email address that you sign up with. So yeah, use those to your advantage. Hopefully everybody has a good Monday here. It's 1:25 a.m., so I'm gonna log off here and upload this for y'all, and I'm gonna go sleep. See ya.